Welcome back. All right, so we're going to review the other 9 games today. If you're looking for a review of the first 2 early games, that's already on the channel. And there's Shadow right here in his usual sleeping spot. All right, so we're going to start things off looking at the Chicago Blackhawks and the LA Kings. Early on, it looked like the LA Kings were going to have an easy day. It did not turn out that way. So it's Mrazek versus Kemper. Things are pushy in a hole by Mrazek. The shots are 5-0 LA, a minute and a half into the game. And then at 3:57, during a press, Laferriere taps one into the net. Kopitar and Fiala with the assists. It's 1-0 LA. Kings press for another. There's more pressure by them at 6.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Kings while Patrick Maroon protests. He's probably right. He was called for interference, but he just kind of collides with the guy. I don't think there was any intention. I get that. So, Kempe's robbed. The rebound's cleared. And that's the only shot on that power play as Chicago does kill that off. Shots are 10-0 for LA halfway through the period. There's a post for Donato from the left circle. There's a 5-hole save on Bedard. The Kings rush. The Hawks plays picking up in the second half. The Kings press with 4 minutes left. Deno has a wraparound chance that's saved. We then had a fight between Foligno and Jeannot. Pretty good tilt. Kemper denies a buzzer beater attempt by Craig Smith. So it's 1-0 LA after the first. It could have been worse. Second period, early press by the Kings. And they're giving very little room to the Blackhawks early in the period. Turcotte has a near miss in close. Hall's then denied. Kemper holds there. Kings press at 5.5 minutes. There's a power play drawn by the LA Kings. Donato is denied on a net drive. Hitting is picking up by both teams. That power play was killed off as well. The Hawks then get a power play that's killed off. Special teams, not that special to this point in the game. Hawks go back to the power play. There's a shorthanded rush by Moore. Kills some time. In fact, they kill off that penalty. No shots on net. And then at 18:37, Laferriere wires one glove side. Turcotte and Dano with the assists. So we go to the third period with the score 2-0 for LA. Now, interestingly enough, one of these goals shows as a power play goal, and I didn't get that. It must have been this one was a power play goal. At any rate, it must have been while I was watching this that these things can happen. So third period, early press by the Kings. Donato with a near miss. The Kings clear. Murphy has a slap shot that's held, and then at 3:26, Foligno buries his own rebound. Allen with the assist. The Hawks then look to tie it, and they do at 5:34 on what was a great rush by Lucas Reichel. It's Craig Smith that finishes it off from the slot. Reichel and Vlasic with the assists. It is suddenly a tie game. It does not feel like this should be a tie game. Hall fires one wide on a rush. The shots are 4 apiece at 9 minutes. The Kings press at 9.5 minutes. There's near misses. During that, Clark has a wraparound that's held. There's some pushing. Let me go ahead and just take one moment. It was the goal in the first that was a power play goal. That was during a power play. I don't know what happened there. Many apologies, but yeah, the Laferriere one is a power play goal. So, Deno scores from Fiala and Moore at 11:48, and that was after a Clark wraparound had been held and there was some pushing. So the Kings get the lead back, and at that point it felt like LA had avoided a worst case scenario here. Laferriere's then denied as he's looking for the hat trick goal. The Kings press a bit after that. That also explains why Laferriere taps one in during a press, because that was during a power play. Goalie pull happens with 1:55 left. The Kings guilty of icing with 1:41 left. And then Bertuzzi ties the game. He buries one in close to tie it. Donato and Jones with the assists at 19:29. The Hawks guilty of an icing with 6.7 seconds left. LA doesn't score, so we go to overtime. In the overtime, the Hawks control early. The Kings take over. They set up. The teams exchange turnovers. Fiala's denied on a net drive. Reichel has a rush chance that's saved. Byfield's denied on a 2-on-1 rush. Clark has a net drive that's saved. The Kings press. The Hawks take over. They set up. There's a post for Bedard on a net drive. And then there was a near miss for Bedard and close. And a lot's starting to be made of Bedard's scoring struggles. Honestly, there is... it's called sophomore jinx for a reason. But also, I think teams are just keying on him. So we go to the shootout. In the shootout, all 3 Chicago goals go in. The last one scored by Donato, so that one's officially the winner. And Chicago steals one here. They win in a shootout 4-3. So Chicago goes to 4-7-1. The Kings drop to 6-3-3 on the season. I did mention earlier in the day, the Kings, it feels like I could have had in that mediocre video too. The record didn't justify it, but this game kind of tells you the story. Shots on net, 12-4 LA in the first, 11-4 LA in the second, 12-11 LA in the third, and 5-1 in the overtime. Final shots, 40-20 for LA. Power plays, Chicago 0 for 2, LA 1 for 3. The hits 25-24 for Chicago. Mrazek saves 37 out of 40. Kemper saves 17 out of 20. As we went to a shootout, so both goalies saved the same amount of shots. So Columbus went through a bit of a litmus test going up against Winnipeg and then Washington. It didn't go well, and it didn't go well today for their defense. I know people are going to dump on Tarasov. I felt awful for him. So it's Tarasov versus Thompson at 56 seconds in. It's a 2-on-0, and it's the first shot on net. Protas scores from Strome and Ovechkin, and then at 1:42, from the right circle, McMichael wires one. Sandin with the assist. That was the second shot on net, and it was a wicked shot too. Shots are 2-0 for the Caps at 4.5 minutes, so it's not like Columbus has any pushback at this stage either. There's a near miss for McMichael in close. Radish has a net drive, that's turned aside, and then Mangiapane buries one in close. Vrana and Lapierre with the assists at 7:28. I believe for Lapierre, that's his first point of the season. Protas fires one high in a rush. The shots are 5-2 for the Capitals at the half. Caps press with 8.5 minutes left. There's a press for Columbus with 6.5 minutes left, and then Ovechkin buries one from his spot. It's the sixth shot on net. Strome with the assist at 14:36. So a 2-on-0 goal, one from the right circle from McMichael, who's red hot. Then Mangiapane buries one in close. Now you got Ovechkin, and then on another rush, Dowd scores at 14:58. Van Riemsdyk and Duhaime with the assists. It's 5 goals on 7 shots. And again, I'm not saying Tarasov played well, but where in the world was the defense on any of this? Like, Columbus's defense today in that first period was absolutely atrocious. And it's one of those things where it's not just the shots, it's the quality of shots, is where they're getting them from. It's, are they rush chances? All of these goals were fantastic for the Capitals. 2:59 left. Columbus gets a power play. They're only down by 5. Voronkov can't bury one in close. Power play gets killed off. Columbus presses to close it out. So there's that. It's 5-0 after 1. Second period. 49 seconds in, Severson scores to get the Blue Jackets on the board. Fantilli with the assist, and then Columbus looks for another. And you're thinking, well, I mean, there's still 40 minutes left, maybe. Caps press are kept to the outside. Mangiapane's denied. Columbus clears. Fans call one. The referee does not. And then McMichael, after a 2-on-1 rush, he buries one in close. Wilson and Dubois with the assists at 4:51. Makes it 6-1. Radish has a rush chance. That's held. The shots are 7-4 for Columbus at 7.5 minutes. Columbus's press is at 8.5 minutes. The Caps, though, they're blocking them, keeping them to the outside. We get a power play for Columbus. That becomes 1 minute and 15 seconds of 4-on-4, and then everything gets killed off there. Thompson Snow Angels as Columbus presses, and the Blue Jackets thought they might have scored there, but no. And then LeBanc at 14:36 scores from Aston Reese and Monahan. So it's a 6-2 score. With 2:02 left, Columbus with a power play. Chinakhov has a shot that's held. That power play is killed off. It is 6-2 after 2 periods of play in favor of Washington. Third period, there's an early press for Columbus. There was a post for Strome on a 2-on-1 rush. The Caps have the only shot on net 3 minutes in. There's a press by Washington 6 minutes in. Olivier can't bury one in close. The shots are 3-2 Caps at the half, just showing how little they're giving Columbus. Columbus presses with 6.5 minutes, and honestly, or 6.5 minutes left, and honestly, if you eliminate the first period, and you can't, Columbus played pretty well after that. Just, you have to keep in mind, too, that the Capitals may very well have taken their foot off the gas because they were up by 5. So Strome on a tic-tac-toe play adds another. Ovechkin and Radish with the assists at 18:34. Makes your final score 7-2. It gets them that no mercy magnet. The Capitals go to 8-2 on the season. Columbus with back-to-back losses are now 5-1. Shots on net, 8-5 Washington in the first, 20-9 Columbus in the second, 11-5 Columbus in the third. They actually outshoot Washington 36-22. Power plays, Columbus 0 for 3, Washington 0 for 1. The hit 17-14 Columbus. Tarasov, awful night statistically, but I don't put it on him. 15 saves on 22 shots. I think it's really reflective of how bad that defense was in the first period. And Thompson saved 34 out of 36. So, that being said, let's go ahead and change boards. All right, so if you look at this board, you'll notice scoring was down a little bit in tonight's games. Grubauer versus Forsberg in the Seattle game against the Ottawa Senators. Seattle, suddenly they're in trouble again. Early jump for the Sens. The shots are only one apiece, though, at 5 minutes, because we hadn't had a whistle to that stage of the game. Referees informed that he sucks on no goal. Grubauer didn't have it, so the Sens challenged, and it's a goal. So then you can change it to ref you rule, right? They don't do that? Why? BUF-DET scores from Cousins at 5:28. Sens press for another. Kraken are stuck at one shot. It's all Senators in this game at this point. We get a power play for Seattle. That's killed off. Sens get another turn with the power play. Giroux couldn't bury late in it. That power play's killed off. 4 shots on net for Ottawa. Sens press after it ends. Larson has a one-timer on a rush that's held in that second half of the period. Seattle got their share of shots here and there, but it's still 1-0 Ottawa after the first. Second period, Sens press at 2 minutes. We get a power play for Seattle. That's killed off. The Kraken press after it's done. Kraken go back to the power play, which leads to some booing from the crowd and Travis Green having some words for the referee. There's a shorthanded net feed to Norris, which is a near miss. Power play's killed off. Another good kill by Ottawa there. Shots are 3 apiece with 9.5 minutes left, and at 11:11, Tkachuk scores from Bernard Docker and Stützle. It's a point shot that gets tipped in front of the net. Evans then has a shot that's blocked. The Sens rush the other way. Sens go to the power play. Tkachuk has a slap shot that goes wide. Eventually, we go to 27 seconds of 4-on-4. Then there's too many men on the ice for Seattle, so it's 1 minute and 20 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off before the period's done. It's 2-0 Ottawa going to the third. Kraken press are kept to the outside. In fact, we don't have a shot on net 3 minutes into the period. Forsberg was sharp when the Kraken made their push. You knew that was coming. Kraken press at 6.5 minutes. Stützle to Tkachuk gets picked off. Shots are 5-1 Seattle halfway through the period. And the Kraken press with 8 minutes left. Things are pushy on a hold by Forsberg. Goalie pull happens with 3.5 minutes left. And at 17:46, Stützle hits the empty net from Amadio to make your final score 3-0. The Tony the Tiger Magnets at the top of the board. Ottawa goes to 6-5 on the season. Seattle 5-6-1. Shots on net, 10-9 Ottawa in the first, 7-5 Ottawa in the second, 8-6 Seattle in the third. Final shots 23-22 for the Sens. Power plays, Ottawa 0-4, or Seattle 0-4, I should say, Ottawa 0-3. The hits 25-14 Ottawa. Grubauer saves 20 out of 22. Anton Forsberg, another strong start for Forsberg. It's not that long ago fans were ready to just throw Forsberg out, and nope, he had 22 saves on 22 shots and gets himself the shutout today, so kudos to him for that. So Buffalo and Detroit next on the board. It's Luukkonen versus Talbot. Lafferty and Malenstein are denied back-to-back, and it was a preview of the kind of night Talbot's going to have. Sabres draw a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 4-1 Buffalo, 5 minutes into the period. Berggren fires one wide on a rush. There's a net feed to Rasmussen that gets blocked. We then had a power play for Detroit, which leads to a shorthanded goal. Via a turnover, Tuck buries one unassisted at 11:39, so it's 1-0 Buffalo. Sabres finish the kill, and then with 1:31 left, they get a power play of their own. So that rolls over to the second period with them up 1-0. The Wings finish the kill to start the second period. Detroit then has a 3-on-2 that misfires. Shots are only one apiece 4 minutes in. Wings draw a power play, and they score on it. Larkin from Kane at 7:49. Wings then press for the lead. A cop to Raymond. There's a near miss there. Rasmussen's denied on a 2-on-1 rush. The Sabres press are kept to the outside. We then get another power play for Detroit. They score on this one as well. It's Larkin for a second time. DeBrincat and Raymond with the assists at 14:38. So that gives Detroit their first lead of the game. Tuck then denies Kopp twice at the net. Like, he played goal. Luukkonen's out of position. Tuck's like, fine, I'll do it myself. I don't know why those don't count as saves for players when they're defending. I think they should. I think we need another category for players making the save who aren't the goaltenders. Sabres press with 3.5 minutes left. Things are pushy at the horn. It's 2-1 Detroit after 2. Third period. Casper has a net drive chance that's held. The Sabres press at 3 minutes. The shots are 3-1 Buffalo at 4 minutes. Marco Casper's had chances too. Eventually that puck's going to start going in the net. Sabres press at 5.5 minutes. In fact, the shots are 8-4 Buffalo with 8 minutes left. The Wings press with 4 minutes left. There's a net feed to Kane, which misses. The goalie pull takes place. The Sabres get some pressure. Peterka could not bury the tying goal. He was so close. 1:59 left. The Sabres call a timeout. And then with 1.7 seconds left, just to make sure this game ends in Detroit's favor, they get a power play to close things out. They win this one 2-1. Detroit evens the record at 5-5-1. Buffalo drops to 4-7-1 on the season. Shots on net, 12-7 Buffalo in the first, 9-7 Detroit in the second, and 13-7 Buffalo in the third. They do outshoot Detroit 32-23. Power plays Buffalo 0 for 2, Detroit 2 for 4. That's what did it. Buffalo's penalty kill combined with the lack of being able to get the puck in the net themselves 5-on-5. The hits 17-11 for Buffalo. Pretty light hitting game. Luukkonen 21 saves on 23 shots. Talbot 31 saves on 32 shots. Goaltending save percentage, it always starts low at the start of the year, because coming into today it was at 896, which is the lowest it's been since like in the mid 90s. But we know that it improves as the season goes along. That's usually the case anyways. So we'll see if tonight's an example of how that tide is turning. Next up is Montreal and Pittsburgh. So it's Montembeault versus Nedeljkovic. The Pens had the only shot on net 2.5 minutes in. It was pretty easy for me to keep up tonight. Turnover issues for the Habs. Neither team with a sustained press, and until the Habs get some pressure at 7.5 minutes. Not that they got to the net, though. Power play for the Penguins. That's killed off. And again, neither team is getting to the net. The shot's very low. Only 10 combined shots in that first period. Jack-Eye has a slapper that's held. And then at 15:57 from the right circle, Crosby wires one. Raquel with the assist. So Crosby's having himself a time. The Habs press to respond. Caulfield fires one wide. The Penguins get pinned down for a bit. But then the Penguins press to close out the period. So they're up 1-0 after one. They got a little bit of momentum going into the second. Raquel's denied from the slot early in the second period. The Penguins press at 2.5 minutes. In fact, the shots are 3-0 Pittsburgh, 3 minutes into the period. Habs are having issues clearing the puck out. Bunting's denied via a 2-on-1 rush. We get a power play for the Habs. That's killed off. Grzelcyk goes to the locker room. He would come back. So he left for a bit there. Shots are 6 apiece at 9 minutes. We get a press by the Penguins at the half. There's a St. Ivany slap shot that gets held by Montembeault. More pressure by the Penguins with 8.5 minutes left. We then get a power play for Montreal. That's killed off. Gouli has a shot that's held as the Habs press with 3:14 left. The Penguins get a power play. Bunting takes a spear below the belt. The referee didn't see it. So they don't call it. The referee didn't see it. That's just, it's adding insult to injury right there. So there is a power play still going on here. And off a face-off win just before it ends, Crosby scores from Letang at 18:40. But if they'd caught the spear on Bunting, it would have been a 5-on-3, and they might have had a chance at another goal, 5-on-4. Either way, it's 2-0 for Pittsburgh after 2. Third period. Doc has a chance to kick to the corner. Caulfield can't bury one in close. The shots are 2-0 Habs 4 minutes in, and they would get on the board. Dvorak buries his own rebound. Heineman and Slavkovsky with the assists at 5:32. It's 2-1 for Pittsburgh. The Habs look to tie it. There's a press by the Penguins with 6 minutes left. Gallagher gets shaken up in a collision. Kind of wonkied up his knee there. Habs press with 3 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left. The Penguins ice the puck with 1 minute and 1 second left, so the Habs call a timeout. Whatever they discuss does not work. An empty netter is scored by Lizotte. Eller with the assist at 19:15. Pittsburgh wins this 3-1. They improve the record to 5-7-1. Montreal drops to 4-7-1 on the season. Shots on net are 5 apiece in the first, 16-10 Pittsburgh in the second, 11-3 Montreal in the third. Final shots are 26-24 Montreal. Power plays Montreal 0 for 2, Pittsburgh 1 for 2. The hits 28-19 Montreal. Montembeault saves 21 out of 23, and Nedeljkovic saves 25 out of 26. So both goalies were good. And again, this seems to be the pattern that we saw tonight and leads into our next game. Toronto and St. Louis. Toronto is just, you never know what you're going to get from one game to the next. You just don't. They're the Forrest Gump of hockey. Well, the box of chocolates, Forrest Gump, go watch Forrest Gump. It might be an old reference now. It's Woll versus Binnington, but only I was never a huge fan of the movie because the trailer showed me everything was going to happen. I was like, all right, now I don't know. And then I had to watch it, and I was like, this is like the trailer, but so much longer. So Reeves is involved in an early scrum. Hands up if you're surprised. You must not watch hockey. Near miss for Kyrou and close. We had a fight between McCabe and Shen, and that must have fired up Marner because he gets the second goal of the season. He scores from Timmins at 5:25. Lorentz then has a rush chance that's saved. It looks like Toronto's, in good shape in this one. Toronto presses at 9 minutes. We get a post for Tavares. Puck's cleared out. Shots are 10-3 for Toronto with 8 minutes left. Pacioretty fires one wide on a rush. Walker has a net drive that's blocked at the Toronto net. 3:10 left. The Leafs get a power play. That lasts 32 seconds. It becomes 1 minute and 28 seconds of 4-on-4. Saad has a shot that deflects over the net. Everything gets killed off there. It's 1-0 Toronto after the first. Second period, the Leafs press at 1.5 minutes. Binnington at this point is keeping the game close. This is the reason why it's only 1-0. Kairu's denied on a fast break, and then at 3:29, Parayko puts a point shot past a screen. He gets the goal. Walker and Suter with the assist. Broberg gets shaken up. He's helped off, and apparently he's getting tests done. We don't know yet how long he's going to be out, but he's going to miss some time. And then Kairu scores from Holloway and Shen at 8:08. The Blues would press for another now that they have the lead. We get a power play for St. Louis, and right after it ends, Parayko goes post and in. He scores from Suter and Holloway at 12:34. So Ryan Suter with a couple of helpers today, and St. Louis is suddenly up 3-1. Leafs press with 6 minutes left. The Blues go back to the power play. There's a shorthanded Nyes rush that's fired high. That power play's killed off. One shot on net. 1:57 left. The Leafs get a power play, so that runs to the end of the second period. It is unsuccessful. It is 3-1 for St. Louis after 2. Third period. Domi has a shot that's blocked. The rebound's cleared. The shots are 2-1 for the Blues, 3.5 minutes in. Tavares is denied on a turnover. Things are punchy after Suter. Throws a hit on Marner. I mean, you could have called interference there. I agree. And when the Blues emerged with a power play, Craig Berube was not a happy camper at all. This is why coaches don't actually have hockey sticks in their hand and ability to jab referees over the boards. What do you think you're doing calling that? But at any rate, that power play only lasts 29 seconds and then becomes a minute and 31 seconds of 4-on-4. One thing that's always interesting to me with hockey is when there's a penalty called and it's of that nature where you probably could have taken one for each team, it usually ends up being a 4-on-4 not too long after. So everything gets killed off there. The Leafs press after it's done. The Leafs go back to the power play. That's killed off. And then Lorentz goes around Binnington, puts it in the net, makes it look easy as a goal scorer might, but it's Lorentz from Kampf and McCabe at 13:52. So McCabe with the fight and with the assist just missed the goal tonight from a Gordie Howe hat trick. Nyes with a one-timer, that save. The goalie pull happens with a minute and 40 seconds left, but at 19:21, St. Louis ends the comeback hopes. It is Buchnevich from Parayko. Parayko was that close to a hat trick tonight. There's no time that a St. Louis Blues defenseman has ever had a hat trick at home. They announced that on TV. That really surprised me as much as it surprises anybody else. But your final score is 4-2 for St. Louis. They even their record at 6-6. Toronto drops to 6-5-1. Shots on net, 12-4 Toronto in the first, 14-8 St. Louis in the second, 17-6 Toronto in the third. Final shots, 37-24. Both teams were 0-4 on the power play. Hits, 18-17 Toronto. Wall saved 20 out of 23. Binnington, quite the story there. 35 saves on 37 shots. Now I need to change boards. All right, Colorado and Nashville, and there's a quote on this that I'm going to go over. It's Annunen versus Saros in this one, early chances for the Preds. It wasn't a really exciting first period, and there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of turnovers. Press by Nashville, 2.5 minutes. The shots are 3 apiece at 3.5 minutes. There's a press by Nashville at 6 minutes. Sissons with a near miss from in close. The Avalanche press with 2.5 minutes left. But even though there was 19 shots, wasn't a great flowy period of hockey, so it's scoreless after 1. Second period, good early forechecking by Nashville. We get a power play for Colorado. That lasts 8 seconds. Becomes a minute and 52 seconds of 4-on-4. Then we have a minute and 6 seconds of 4-on-3 for the Avs after that. There's a press by Nashville during the 4-on-4. It then becomes a 5-on-4 for Colorado, and they score on it. It's Makar from Middlestad and McKinnon at 2:54. Everybody talks about Makar's plus-minus. You understand that power play goals do not affect plus-minus, correct? You also understand that empty netters at the other end affect plus-minus, correct? That may tell you why his plus-minus is ugly, because they haven't had a good record this season. We then get but they can score on the power play. We then get a power play for Nashville, and they score on theirs. It takes 5 seconds. Stamkos, although I think this has got to be changed to O'Reilly by now, because it looked like it went off O'Reilly in front. But Stamkos from Yossi and O'Reilly at 8:31. It does deflect in. Then we get a power play for the Avs. That's killed off. The Avs go back to the power play. McKinnon's denied. That power play's killed off as well. And then at 18:40, Sissons finally gets his first of the season. Del Gaizo and LaRue with the assists. So it's 2-1 Nashville after 2. Third period. Saros with a bit of an oops, but he recovers before that puck can go into the net. Taves fires one wide on a 3-on-2. The Avs are controlling the first few minutes. Forsberg fires one high from the slot. The shots are 3-1 Avs at 4 minutes. We then get a power play for Nashville, and they score on it. They were perfect on the power play tonight. Yossi with this one from Stamkos and Marchessault at 5:13. It's a one-timer on a good cycle. And this is where I said out loud, hockey's stupid. And I'm going to tell you why hockey stupid's on the board. So when I'm watching Colorado games, 9 times out of 10, it's the altitude feed that they have on. And when the Avalanche score, the play-by-play announcer screams and yells, and it's just great. What an amazing play, and it's awesome. And when the other team scores, they scored. And the tone of voice when the other team scores, I say out loud to the TV, yeah, hockey's stupid. And it's just, it's the way I picture, like, I would love for an announcer, like, it's a big game, and they lose the game, and on the winning goal, he's like, you know what? Hockey's stupid. I'm going to go call baseball. This sport's dumb. And it's the tone that Colorado announcers have when Colorado allows a goal. And if I had a dime for every time they said Nashville was only winning this game because they were lucky, that it was all luck, and I was like, I don't think it's all luck. But anyways, so I wanted to explain that. I wanted to talk about it because it is something I've done for about 5 years now, where when I watch altitude, every time the team scores against Colorado, and I hear that they scored, it's like, yep, hockey's stupid, isn't it? Yep, stupid sport. It's dumb. That shouldn't have counted because that's dumb. So the shots are 4-3 for the Avs at 7 minutes. And this windy road in this video is brought to you by the fact I'm an old man. The teams trade turnovers. The Avs press with 5 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 2:45 left, and they score. McKinnon, 17:44. It's a backhand from a sharp angle. It was a nice goal too. So they pull the goalie again, and at 18:46, Forsberg hits the empty net from Nyquist. So hockey's stupid. And then Nyquist hits the empty net at 19:19. Trust me, if you yell that at the TV during an altitude broadcast, you will probably make yourself chuckle. Even if you're an Avs fan and you're not happy they're losing, which they did tonight by a score of 5-2. Nashville gets a very important victory. They're 4-6-1, trying to dig their way out of this mess. Colorado 5-7, and they're hoping Lehkonen's going to be back on Tuesday for Tuesday night's game. But at any rate, the shots in this one, 11-8 Nashville in the first, 12-5 Colorado in the second, 10-9 Colorado in the third. The final shots 30-25 Colorado. Power plays, the Avs 1-for-4, Nashville 2-for-2. The hits 26-23 Colorado. Annunen saves 20 out of 23 and Saros 28 out of 30. So now you know, if you're watching an Avs game and the team playing against the Avs scores a goal, THG just said to the TV, yep, hockey's stupid, isn't it? Because it's just, that's the tone. That's how I hear it, and I can't not hear it that way. All right, moving along. Utah almost pulled this off, didn't they? And it doesn't show because I didn't get the score up there. I'm going to fix that. Alakazam, the numbers on the board. There was a time when I started doing these reviews where somebody suggested that I don't put the score at the top of the board, that I put it up after I've done that game, and I'm like, but people will count the goal magnets. So I'd have to not have the goal magnets on the board. But at any rate, Utah and Vegas. It was Ingram versus Hill. Honestly, with the way this game was played, it really shouldn't have gone to overtime. I thought Vegas controlled most of the action here. So early press by Utah, they're kept to the outside. Raw can't bury one in close. Vegas draws a power play. That's killed off. 2 shots on net. Shots are 4-0 Vegas at 6 minutes. A net feed to Cooley gets picked off. Vegas presses at the half. No shots for Utah at that point either until 11:52. Cooley roofs one from the right circle. Bjugstad and McBain with the assists. I felt bad for Hill because that was a fantastic shot, and he had to be ice cold because he hadn't had a shot yet. Utah presses with 3 minutes left. Keller to Gunther is blocked, and then we had a fight between McBain and Colasar. Hayden's denied on a fast break. Vegas presses to close it out. Somehow it's 1-0 for Utah, even though they only had 3 shots in that first period. Second period, Vegas presses at 2 minutes. Howden's denied. Ingram holds. Shots are 6-3 for Vegas, 3 minutes in. Howden fires one wide on a rush. Bjugstad fires one wide from the slot. We go more than 7 minutes without a whistle. So fast games tonight. This one and this one, both fast games. And then at 12 minutes, Ian Cole puts one past a screen from the left circle. He scores from Cooley and Keller. Cole's on his 9th team. I'm really hoping at some point somebody reaches Sillinger's number of 12. At any rate, so that one goes past the screen. And then Raw has a net drive held as Vegas presses, and at 15:06, they get on the board from a failed clear by Utah. They make him pay. Dorofeev from Hurdle and Howden. Eichel then has a rush chance that's held, and just as the clock's running out, you play to the whistle. 19:59, Hanifin tips one in close. Roy and Colasar with the assists. It is 2-2 after 2. Third period, the shots are 2-1 Vegas at 3 minutes. Eichel's denied on a turnover, and then on a rush, William Karlsson goes 5-hole. Hanifin with the assist at 5:37. Utah presses. They're kept to the outside. Vegas was doing a good job of blocking the net pretty much throughout the game, to be honest. Shots are 8-5 Vegas with 8.5 minutes left. And then at 13-10, Kerfoot on a tip-in close. He scores from Bjugstad and Lamoureux, and it's 3-3. We're going to overtime. In the overtime, Keller has a shot that's saved, deflects out. Vegas controls. They set up. Carlson's denied on a rush. And then Howden buries a backhand in close. Hannafin and Stone with the assists at 2:15. Vegas survives a bit of a scare. They stay undefeated on home ice. They're 8-3-1 with the 4-3 overtime victory. With the overtime loss, Utah 5-4-3 on the season. Shots on net, 9-3 Vegas in the first, 15-7 Vegas in the second, 9-8 Vegas in the third. In the overtime, the shots were 2-1 Vegas, including the shots that matter, or the shot that matters. 35-19 were the total shots in favor of Vegas. Utah did not have a power play. Vegas did not score on the only power play they had. The hits, 21-20 Vegas. Ingram saves 31 out of 35, and Aiden Hill saved 16 out of 19. All right, and last but not least, Vancouver and San Jose. Vancouver is giving me conniptions at this point in time. I hope Dakota Joshua's back soon, or the rumors that they're going to call up Lekar-Mackey. Do it, because Lekar-Mackey looks good in Abbotsford. He deserves a shot. It's Lankinen versus Blackwood. There's an early press by the Sharks. Grunstrom's denied on a 4-on-2 rush. Shots are 1 apiece at 4.5 minutes. Suter's denied in close. The Sharks rush. Miller to Besser near miss. The Canucks press at 9 minutes. The shots are 5-1 for Vancouver with 8.5 minutes left. So they had San Jose stuck on one shot for a while there. 11 plus minutes between shots by San Jose on the net. Lots of zone time, but not a lot of Canuck shots in that second half either. Besser has a one-timer that's held. Granlund's then denied in close, and Lankinen holds there. Wallman gets shaken up on a hit along the boards. He would come back into the game, though. Hronik has a shot that's blocked as the Canucks press. It's 0-0 after the first. So to start the second, Wallman's back in. There's a shoulder save on Myers, and then at 2:37, Sturm buries a rebound in close. Cunnin paid the price to make that happen, and so it's a 1-0 lead for the San Jose Sharks, which is what I was concerned with, because Vancouver controlled a lot of that first period, but they did not get a goal. So in the second period, we also then see the Sharks press for another. The shots are 5-1 for the Sharks 5 minutes into the second. Granlund fires one wide on a net drive. Besser has a wrister that's caught and held. There's a near miss for Eklund on a tic-tac-toe play. Shots are 7 apiece with 9 minutes left. Eklund's denied on a fast break. And then on a drop pass, Suter scores from Höglander at 14:41. Gets the score tied at 1. Sharks press with 2.5 minutes left. Toffoli wasn't on the bench. He would return early in the third. Things are kind of chatty between these teams at the Horn, but no pushes and punches were thrown. So again, Toffoli returns in the third. There's an early back and forth. The Sharks press at 1.5 minutes, and there were some close calls at the Vancouver net. Brandstrom fires one high. There's a brief press by the Canucks there. We then get a power play for Vancouver, which was 0 for its previous 10. There's a shorthanded rush by Granlund. He fires wide there. That power play's killed off as well, so they're 0 for their last 11. The Sharks go to the power play. That's killed off as well. The shots are 5-1 San Jose at 7 minutes. So in both the second and the third, they had 5 of the first 6 shots. Canucks draw a power play. There's a slot shot by Besser that's held, or saved, I should say. That power play ends up being killed off. And then Hronik with a dumb penalty. It's a dumb penalty because I didn't like, yeah, he was doing it to open up the ace for Hughes, but he's also doing it right in front of the referee. It's a pretty clear interference call. It's a subtle interference call. Sometimes you can get away with that, but not in that situation. If it's in traffic, maybe, but I was like, great, bad penalty. But the Canucks do kill that off, and they rush after. There's a post for Besser on a breakaway, and then DeBrusk finally gets his first goal as a Canuck. He gets it from the left circle. Hughes and Hronik with the assist at 15:38. So Hronik makes up for the bad penalty by having an assist on the goal that puts the Canucks into their first lead of the game. Goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left, and at 18:43, Granlund ties the game again. Toffoli and Eklund with the assist. So I was like, all right, we're going to go to overtime to decide this game. But Suter had other plans. At 19:34, he scores from Garland and Soucy. That's the first point of the season for Soucy. Makes it 3-2 Vancouver. He wires that one from the slot. And then the Sharks almost tied it again. Zetterlund almost gets one right before the buzzer. And so the Canucks hold on. They win 3-2. They go to 5-2-3. They are 4-1 on the road. They are better on the road than they are at home. San Jose drops to 3-8-2 on the season. But San Jose gave Vancouver everything they could handle after what was a pretty slow first period for San Jose. Shots on net, 9-3 Vancouver in the first. 11-10 San Jose in the second, 9 apiece in the third. Final shots 28-23 Vancouver. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. The hits 24-21 Vancouver. Lankinen saves 21 out of 23 in Blackwood, 25 saves on 28 shots. So there you go. You're all caught up on tonight's action. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.